If you're watching this video, you probably feel like you're wasting your life and you feel guilty for not using your days to the fullest. And let me tell you, this feeling is quite common in the times that we live in, and I've been there, I am there, and I'm gonna be there. And today, I want to share with you some steps, a survival guide for the days when you find yourself in this mental space. So in the first step, it's really important to understand where your emotion comes from. And the first source of guilt has to be comparison. In the times of social media, it's really hard to not compare ourselves. We tend to compare our worst moments with the best moments of other people that are additionally filtered. But comparison not only comes from social media, it also can come from comparing yourself to your friends or close ones, on colleagues, or anyone that you meet and encounter in your life. And generally, I could say, just don't compare yourself. But this advice is not quite accurate in this situation or any situation at all, because our brain is wired to compare. Because evolutionarily, we use comparison to establish where we are in life, if we are doing well or not. And back in time, we needed to compare to see if we don't need to compete for shelter or food or access to clean water or someone to impregnate us and raise children with us, you know? And comparison is connected with our reward system in the brain. So as an example, if you eat one food and the other food, and one food tastes better, your brain releases the dopamine, which motivates you to eat this food again instead of the other food. And it was found in research that about 10 to 12% of our thoughts are comparison thoughts. So as you can see, we can't really avoid comparison, and it can be source of the feeling like we are left behind. But what we can control is how we react to comparison and how we can use comparison in our own advantage. The second source of your guilt can be a pressure. And about pressure, there was a really interesting study. This study was done by Solomon Asch, and he wanted to check if people will change their ideas and answers depending on the other people. So the task was quite easy. The participants had to answer a very simple question. They were showed two pictures, and on the first picture there was one line, and this one line had the specific length. And on the second picture, there were 3 lines different length, which one of those was matching the first picture. And the question was which line from the second picture matched the line from the first picture. I hope you understand, and I hope it's clear. But the trick was that only one participant was actually a real participant, and the rest of them were actors. And those actors, they were giving the wrong answer on purpose. And the real one, the real participant, was the last one to answer this question. So hearing all of those wrong answers, a lot of people actually decided to give wrong answer as well, just to match with the group. And this study is really interesting because it can show that actually pressure can cause us to make decisions which we believe is not true. And taking it as an example to real life, sometimes when we feel pressure, we can act against us and our beliefs and the things that we think that are beneficial for us. But because all of us have a need to belong, it's not that easy to go against the stream. And I don't know if you're a quote person or not, but I found a really interesting quote of Marcus Aurelius that I think fits pressure and our perception of it perfectly. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. And it shows that some of the external expectations, some of the external beliefs that our family holds or people that we know holds, or even like peer pressure, this is just a concept, like it's also like made up. So being aware of it, that everything is just a perspective, everything is just an opinion, can help you to find some calmness and find some distance from all of those expectations. And the third source of your guilt, it can be your own expectations. So taking all of the layers or all of the external factors, we can put a lot of pressure and expectations on ourselves. And the question is if those expectations are coming because we think we should be doing something, or this is honestly and genuinely the things that we want to accomplish, the things that we want to do, but somehow we don't manage to do it, or somehow we feel like it's not enough. And the good thing about our own expectations is that we have the most control over them. So our second step is to question your definition of the fullest day or a productive day. So in this step, it's really important to think what the productive or fullest day actually looks for you. But here's the thing, I don't want you to think about your ideal day of your ideal self in your ideal circumstances, because in life not many things are perfect. If anything is perfect, I don't think so. Nothing is perfect, so let's not put unnecessary pressure on ourselves to always perform the best. What is important is to address the current demands of your life season. There is a thing about life, it comes in different seasons, different chapters, and what is important is to be realistic about it, to be honest with yourself, how many resources you actually have, how much energy you have, and what are the needs of your situation right now. Because, for example, you might struggle with mental health, and maybe the biggest achievement that you can do is to take a shower or go outside or meet with a friend. And when you are guilty in that time for not doing more than that, it's not serving you any purpose. So acknowledging your current state, acknowledging where you are right now, acknowledging how you feel will help you to actually define day to day what does it mean to use your days to the fullest. Because when it comes to using your days to the fullest, it's not this perfect routine, it's addressing what you need right now, it's listening to yourself what you need. And then when you start to question, maybe you can realize that some of the things that you feel guilty for not doing are actually not yours, but they are coming from pressure, comparison, or maybe they are not realistic. So there is a tendency to feel like you don't do enough when you don't work enough. But how many of us actually feel like, oh my god, I don't do enough because I don't spend enough time in the nature? Or how many of us feel like we don't do enough when we feel like, I don't have enough time for self-care or just chilling and relaxing? And the other areas of your life that are worth your attention, it's focusing on relationships and your health and actually having the time for yourself. Because life is not only about just this working productivity, is about finding the moments of joy and finding the moments and the practices that will make you feel that you are actually living. So when you will have your definition of your fullest day, you can have a glimpse of what are your values and priorities in life. What are the things that you want to focus on? And then the next step is prioritizing it, like trying to implement in your daily routines, daily life. And it doesn't have to be something like really big. If you feel guilty for not focusing on your passions, it can be even like 10 minutes a day to focus on it. Or if you feel like you don't spend enough time with your friends and family, you can like try to call as much as you can, or leave notes, or just communicate to them how important they are for you. And prioritizing the things that are important will help you to feel that you're doing your best with everything that you have. And our last step is being kind to yourself and practicing self-compassion. Self-compassion is a key, because it was even found in research that self-compassion is the best thing to lower procrastination. Because if you will accept that you procrastinate, and if you will let yourself, and when you will feel kindness toward yourself when you procrastinate, it will help you to just get over it. And it will help you to just get back on track and get back to focusing on things that are important to you. And self-compassion plays a huge role in processing emotions. In all of that process, we are not fighting with guilt. We are not fighting with anxiety. We are not putting this like plaster of productivity and being disciplined. We are trying to understand our emotions. We are helping ourselves to process them and to eventually let them go. Because guilt anxiety, they are just emotions. Allowing yourself to feel them, observing them, and trying to get the idea why you feel this way will help you to feel more calm and will help you to reassure yourself and reaffirm to yourself that you're actually doing well. Those 4 steps that I mentioned, so addressing the source of your guilt, defining your fullest day, prioritizing what's important, and being kind to yourself, it is a process to go through every time when you start to feel guilty. Remember that you are enough, you're doing enough, and it's gonna be okay. And if you found value in this video and if you enjoyed it, I'm very happy about it. And I think you can enjoy as well my other video right here. And there I talk about how trying too hard makes us feel stuck. It's also really interesting. And I wish you all the best, and I see you next time.